Alright everyone, welcome to our biggest video ever. We have gathered 100 kids and 100 adults for the most insane challenge we have ever thought of. For the next 99 hours, these two groups will live inside two giant, separate cubes. The last group standing wins a massive prize. This is a battle of ages, a test of patience, and a whole lot of fun. The kids are full of energy, ready to scream and play. The adults look calm now, but we will see how long that lasts. This is going to be absolutely wild, and I cannot wait to see who comes out on top. Our hosts for this epic event are some of the biggest names you know. We have the legendary WWE superstar, Triple H. He is here to bring the power and the hype, and joining him are the famous brothers, Logan Paul and Jake Paul. They know a thing or two about creating chaos and keeping things exciting. Together, these three will be running the show, throwing crazy challenges at our contestants and making sure nobody gets too comfortable. They have surprises planned that will blow your mind. This is not just a waiting game, it is a full-on spectacle. The contestants are here from all over the country. We have kids as young as 7 and adults who are grandparents. They all think they have what it takes to survive. The kids have brought their favorite toys and blankets ready for a long sleepover. The adults have brought books and pillows, thinking they can just relax their way to victory. But they have no idea what we have in store for them. We are going to test their limits with silly games, tricky puzzles, and maybe even some really boring food. This is going to be a roller coaster of emotions. So, the stage is set. 100 kids are in the blue cube, and 100 adults are in the red cube. They are all waving to the cameras, smiling and cheering, completely unaware of the madness that is about to unfold. Will the kids' endless energy win out, or will the adults' wisdom and patience be the key to success? It is time to find out. We are starting the 99-hour clock right now. Let the ultimate challenge begin, and may the best group win. This is going to be awesome. Let's take a look inside these incredible cubes. Each one is like a giant room with everything our contestants need to survive. There are beds, bathrooms, and a huge open space in the middle for activities. The walls are clear, so the kids and adults can see each other, which is going to make things very interesting. They can taunt each other, cheer for each other, and watch as people from the other team decide to leave. We also have cameras everywhere, so we will not miss a single moment of the action. This is their entire world for the next 4 days. The most important feature in each cube is the giant red button. If at any point a contestant wants to leave, all they have to do is walk over and press that button, a door will open, and they can walk out. But here is the catch. Once you leave, you cannot come back in. Every time someone presses the button, their team loses a point. The team with the most people left at the end of 99 hours wins the grand prize. It sounds simple, but trust me, it's going to be harder than it looks. Boredom is a powerful enemy. To keep track of everything, we have a massive 99-hour clock counting down between the two cubes. Everyone can see it, a constant reminder of how much time is left. Every tick of that clock will feel like an hour when you have nothing to do. We want to see who can handle the pressure. It is not just about physical strength, it is a mental game. Who can stay positive when they are tired? Who can resist the temptation to just go home to their own bed? The clock is their biggest opponent in this challenge. The hosts, Triple H, Logan and Jake, will be watching from their control room. They have a direct line to the speakers inside each cube. They can announce challenges, offer prizes, or just mess with the contestants to keep things lively. They are the masters of this game, and their job is to make this as unforgettable and unpredictable as possible. The contestants think they are just waiting, but they are actually part of a huge, crazy experiment. The rules are simple, but the game is anything but. Let the fun begin. The first day is always a major test of willpower. To make things interesting right away, Logan Paul made an announcement. He offered $10,000 to the first person from each team to press the button and leave. For a few minutes, nobody moved. The contestants looked at each other, wondering if it was a trick, but then one of the adults walked slowly to the button. He pushed it, the door opened, and he walked out to claim his cash. He said he had bills to pay, and $10,000 was too good to pass up. The adult team was now down to 99 people. Over in the kids' cube, the $10,000 offer created chaos. The kids all yelled, but none of them wanted to leave just yet. They were having too much fun exploring their new home. However, after a few hours, the boredom started to set in for some of the older kids. One teenager who said she was missing her friends decided to take the money. She pressed her button, and the kids' team was also down to 99. It was a tie, but the challenge had just begun. The first eliminations showed that everyone has a price. As the day turned into night, more people started to leave. It was not always for money. Some of the younger kids started to miss their parents. One little boy started crying because he wanted his own bed, and his mom was not there to tuck him in. It was a sad moment, but our team was there to make sure he was okay as he left the cube. On the adult side, a woman left because she said the noise was giving her a headache. She just wanted some peace and quiet. Boredom and homesickness were proving to be powerful enemies in this game. By the end of the first 24 hours, the numbers had dropped. The adults had lost 8 people, and the kids had lost 10. The kids were losing faster, but their energy was still high. The adults were quieter, but some were looking really tired already. Triple H announced the scores, reminding everyone that every person counts. The first day showed everyone that this challenge was not just a game, it was a real test of how much they could handle. And we still had more than 3 days to go. The real fun was about to start. Day 2 started with a delicious breakfast surprise from Jake Paul. He announced that for the next 12 hours the only food available would be plain, unsalted oatmeal. The groans from both cubes were so loud you could hear them in the studio. The adults were not happy, complaining that it tasted like wet cardboard. But the kids had the best reaction. One of them screamed, "This is not food, this is punishment!" They started making sculptures out of the oatmeal, turning their breakfast bowls into a hilarious sticky art project. It was a perfect example of how the two groups handled challenges differently. The kids' energy was off the charts, and it led to one of the funniest moments of the challenge. To pass the time, they started a game of jumping on the floor tiles to see if they could break one. We made sure the floor was safe, but one tile was designed to be a little weaker. After about an hour of jumping, they found it. The tile cracked and fell through, revealing a giant foam pit underneath. The kids cheered like they had just won the lottery. They spent the next few hours jumping into the pit, turning a boring afternoon into an amazing adventure. The adults just watched, looking a little bit jealous. Meanwhile, the host decided to play a little prank. They sent a locked briefcase into each cube. They announced that one briefcase contained $100,000 and the other contained nothing. The problem was, they did not have the key. The teams had to work together to find a hidden key inside their cube. The adults immediately got organized. They formed search parties and started looking systematically. They were calm and focused, treating it like a serious task. They were determined to find that key and get the money. The kids, on the other hand, just went wild. They started shaking the briefcase, throwing it around and trying to smash it open. They were not interested in a careful search, they wanted instant results. They turned the whole cube upside down looking for the key, making a huge mess, but having the time of their lives. This challenge was not just about the money for them, it was about the thrill of the hunt. The contrast was hilarious. The adults were playing chess, and the kids were playing with dynamite. This was getting good. As we crossed the halfway point, I announced a new twist to speed things up. It was time for a button race. For the next hour, every person who pressed the button to leave would earn their team a special advantage in the next challenge. But, it was a trick. We wanted to see who was loyal to their team and who would leave for a potential prize. The adults were suspicious. They gathered in a circle and talked it over. Their leader, a calm woman named Sarah, said it was probably a trap and that they should stay united. The kids did not even hesitate. The moment they heard prize, it was a stampede. 5 kids ran to the button and pushed it almost at the same time. They did not care about the consequences. They just wanted to win something. Their team number dropped fast, but they did not seem to mind. They were cheering for the 5 who left, hoping they secured a big advantage. The adults, on the other hand, held strong. Not a single adult pushed the button. They chose teamwork over a mystery prize. It was a huge gamble for both sides. Because the adults showed such great teamwork, we rewarded them. But we also had a surprise for everyone. Jake Paul announced that the cubes were about to get smaller. Slowly, 2 of the walls in each cube started to move inward, reducing the living space by half. This created a whole new level of chaos. The contestants had to quickly move their beds and belongings to fit into the smaller area. Personal space was now a luxury they could not afford. You could see the stress on some of the adults' faces as they were forced closer together. For the kids, the shrinking walls were just another game. They thought it was hilarious. They started building forts with their mattresses, cramming into a smaller space like it was the best slumber party ever. The lack of space did not bother them at all, it just brought them closer together. This twist really highlighted the difference between the two groups. The adults were trying to cope with the change, while the kids were embracing it. The challenge was getting more intense, and the shrinking cubes made every moment more crowded and more personal. Our hosts were having way too much fun with this. Logan Paul decided it was time for another briefcase prank. He sent in 2 more locked briefcases, but this time he announced that both contained a huge cash prize. The catch was that the teams had to trade briefcases. Whichever briefcase they ended up with was theirs to keep. The adults spent a long time debating. They tried to study the kids' reactions to see if they could figure out which briefcase was better. They were trying to use logic to solve a completely random game. The kids did not think at all. They immediately agreed to the trade. They did not care which briefcase they got, they just loved the excitement of the game. So, the trade was made. The adults carefully opened their new briefcase only to find it was filled with rocks. Their faces were priceless. They had been so serious, and they got a pile of rocks for their efforts. The kids opened their briefcase and found it was filled with $1 single bill. They started cheering and celebrating like they had won $1 million, waving the dollar in the air. The pranks did not stop there. The host sent in a challenge where each team had to build the tallest tower using only empty water bottles and tape. The winning team would get a special delivery. The adults approached the task with an engineering mindset. They created a wide base and carefully stacked the bottles one by one. Their tower was stable and tall. They were working together like a well-oiled machine, communicating and planning every move. It was an impressive display of cooperation and strategy. They were sure they had it in the bag. The kids' tower was a masterpiece of chaos. They did not have a plan. They just started taping bottles together as fast as they could. Their tower was wobbly, crooked, and looked like it could fall over at any second. But it was also incredibly tall. They were laughing and yelling the entire time, having more fun with the process than the goal. In the end, the kids' tower was just a few inches taller than the adults' tower before it came crashing down. They won the challenge through pure, chaotic energy. After the tower challenge, it was time to reward the winners. The kids went absolutely crazy when a mountain of pizza boxes was delivered to their cube. The smell of pepperoni and cheese filled the air, and for the first time in days, they got to eat something other than oatmeal or boring sandwiches. It was a huge morale booster. They shared the pizza, making sure everyone got a slice. This victory brought them even closer together. They were a unified team, fueled by sugar and junk food. Their energy levels shot right back up to 100%. Seeing the kids celebrate with pizza was tough for the adults. They had lost the challenge, and their reward was another round of plain oatmeal. You could see the disappointment on their faces. To prevent a mass exit, I decided to show them a little mercy. I announced that a coffee bar was being delivered to the adult cube. The adults' eyes lit up. A fresh cup of coffee was exactly what they needed. The smell of brewing coffee was almost as good as the pizza, and it gave them the boost they needed to keep going. It was a small comfort, but it made a big difference. With renewed spirits, both teams found new ways to pass the time. The adults started organizing group activities. Sarah, their unofficial leader, started a yoga class in the morning to help everyone stretch and relax. Another person started a book club where they would read aloud to everyone. They were creating a sense of community and routine to combat the boredom. They were determined to stay calm and united, supporting each other through the final stretch of the challenge. Their cube became a surprisingly peaceful and organized place. The kids, of course, did the opposite. Their cube was pure, non-stop action. They used the empty pizza boxes to build a giant fort. They invented a game that involved rolling around in their sleeping bags and crashing into each other. They had a talent show where kids showed off their best dance moves and sang songs. They never stopped moving, playing, and laughing. Their strategy was to have so much fun that they forgot they were even in a challenge. And honestly, it seemed to be working perfectly for them. With less than 12 hours to go, the finish line was in sight. Everyone was feeling the exhaustion. The lack of sleep and the constant activity were taking a toll. People were moving slower, and the loud cheers had turned into quiet murmurs. To give them one last push, the host sent in a final surprise. Logan Paul announced that giant bars of chocolate were being delivered to both cubes. It did not matter who was winning or losing. This was a reward for everyone who had made it this far. The chocolate was a huge hit. The kids' faces lit up, and they immediately started devouring the sweet treat, getting chocolate all over their faces and hands. It gave them a final burst of sugary energy to power through the last few hours. The adults were just as happy. They savored their chocolate, breaking off small pieces and sharing them. It was a moment of pure happiness and a welcome break from the stress of the competition. For a little while, everyone forgot about the clock and just enjoyed the simple pleasure of eating chocolate. As the final hours ticked away, a sense of calm settled over both cubes. The kids, finally running out of energy, were curled up in their sleeping bags, many of them fast asleep. A few were quietly playing with toys or watching the clock. The adults were also resting, some were reading, others were talking quietly in small groups. They looked tired but proud. They had survived 99 hours of craziness, pranks, and oatmeal. They had formed friendships and proved to themselves that they could handle anything thrown at them. The hosts made one last announcement. They showed messages from the contestants' families on the big screens. Kids saw their parents waving and telling them how proud they were. Adults saw their children and partners cheering them on. It was a very emotional moment. There were tears in both cubes, but they were happy tears. It was the perfect reminder of what was waiting for them on the other side. It gave them the strength to hang on for the final countdown. The end was so close they could almost taste it. The final 10 seconds appeared on the giant clock. Everyone in both cubes was on their feet, hugging each other and watching the numbers tick down. 3, 2, 1, 0. A loud buzzer sounded, and confetti rained down from the ceiling in both cubes. The challenge was over. The doors slid open, and for the first time in 99 hours, the contestants could step outside. They walked out into the studio, blinking in the bright lights, as a huge crowd cheered for them. It was an incredible moment. Triple H, Logan, and Jake stood on a stage in the middle of the studio. It was time to announce the results. I grabbed the microphone. After 99 hours, I boomed. The adults had an amazing 37 people left. The adults cheered for themselves, proud of their achievement. But the kids, I continued with a dramatic pause, had 38 people left. The kids erupted in a massive cheer. They started jumping up and down, hugging each other and screaming with joy. They had won by just one person. The kids were officially declared the winners of the grand prize. But we had a surprise for the adults too. For showing such incredible teamwork and perseverance, we gave the adult team a consolation prize of $50,000 to share. They were so happy. They had not won the main event, but they had not lost either. Everyone was a winner in their own way. The spirit of the competition was all about having fun and pushing your limits, and both teams had done that perfectly. There were no hard feelings, only respect. The best part of the whole thing was what happened next. The families of all the contestants rushed into the studio, kids ran into their parents' arms, and adults hugged their loved ones tightly. After 4 long days apart, they were finally reunited. There were so many happy tears and smiles. It was the perfect ending to the craziest challenge we have ever done. 100 kids and 100 adults took on the cubes, and in the end, everyone came out with a great story to tell and memories that will last a lifetime.